This is Luke Paulson, the Catholic Conservative, and welcome to the news of the week for March 9th, 2024. And if you enjoy these videos, do not forget to like, comment, and most importantly, subscribe for more. Even more footage released. Tucker Carlson famously released the footage of January 6th, which showed the so-called QAnon shaman getting a tour of the Capitol building by Capitol Police. This led to his de facto firing from Fox News. To me, this just proves that they are controlled opposition and members of Operation Mockingbird. Operation Mockingbird is here to remind you to never question the official narrative. Now, the Committee on House Administration released 5,000 more hours of footage. The reason that the fake news is not talking about any of this footage is that they know that they cannot argue with facts. Remember when right after Carlson's special, Kimmel said this at the Oscars?
Anyone who's ever received a text message from their father knows how important editing is. Editors do amazing things. Editors can turn 44,000 hours of violent insurrection footage into a respectful sightseeing tour of the Capitol.
That was back when we were only able to see a small amount of the footage. Even this small amount was enough to prove that there was no insurrection. Now the proof is undeniable. The people were let in, and there is a reason that we call it the mostly peaceful protest of January 6th. Because unlike when Democrats went to Washington, D.C. and they set fire to buildings, this was a mostly peaceful protest. Speaking of President Trump's situation, a unanimous decision. The Supreme Court ruled unanimously in a 9-0 decision that President Trump could not be removed from the ballot by a state. In the history of the United States, the Supreme Court has only had a 9-0 decision on a handful of occasions. In 1954, we had Brown v. Board of Education, where it was ruled that separate but equal violated the 14th Amendment. In 1974, we had the United States v. Nixon, where it was ruled that the president was not above the law and that the tapes had to be released. In 2013, we sadly had United States v. Windsor, where it was ruled that homosexual couples could not be denied benefits. Now we have another unanimous decision in which the Supreme Court ruled that President Trump could not be taken off of the ballot. Liberals and the fake news are so upset about this that they are calling the 3 Democrats on the court MAGA supporters. We now await the charges on President Trump's immunity. This is getting very interesting, but speaking of the election, Haley finally won something. Nikki Haley has been losing in state after state and even in her home state. However, she won in Washington, D.C. We already know that her supporters are actually Democrats. We also know that this is the swamp, as in the enemies of America, and anyone who is supported by the swamp is also an enemy of America. That is not hyperbole. That is fact. While President Trump has not gotten a clean sweep, this just proves that Haley is exactly the sort of politician that he claims that she is. However, she did get another victory that we need to talk about. Democrats vote for Haley. I stated a moment ago that all of Haley's supporters are Democrats. This is because they are voting for her because she will be easier for Brandon to defeat. In most states, you are required to vote in the primary for the party to which you belong. In Vermont, this is not the case. You can vote for anyone regardless of your party affiliation. As such, all of the Democrats could vote for Haley without having to worry about extra paperwork. Even though none of this matters because Haley dropped out. Even CNN is willing to admit that the GOP is now the party of Donald Trump. With her out of the way, let us move on to the newest voters for the Democratic Party. Police cannot arrest illegals. We have so-called sanctuary cities all over the country. As such, Texas and Florida have been sending them as many illegals as we can. While the Supreme Court did rule in favor of President Trump, they are blocking a Texas law that allows police to arrest illegals. Even though those coming across are military-aged men without women and children, even though those coming across are probably members of the cartel, drug dealers, or human traffickers, we cannot arrest them. Laken Riley would still be alive if these people were not even here. At least this is not New York, where they get free room and board as well as gift cards for whatever they want. These criminals keep coming over and will continue if they are not stopped. However, illegals are not the only liberal talking point that is falling apart. Is the China virus the flu? According to the Washington Post, the CDC now claims that we can treat the China virus like the flu. That is something that rational people knew from the very start, but we were called conspiracy theorists. Remember when the media industrial complex canceled Heal Light? That could have helped so many people. just because President Trump mentioned it.
Pepperidge Farm remembers.
The goal was not to make it through the pandemic, but to make it last as long as possible. 2 weeks to slow the spread eventually ended up as 2 years. And flip-flop Fauci will never be held accountable because he never made rules, just recommendations. So in other words, there was never a single winter in which we shut down the entire economy because someone needed a sick day. If a kid is not well, he stays home. We do not send the entire school home and upend the learning process. We who had our accounts shut down were right all along. Texan shoots a car thief. I have said it before, and I will say it again. The Second Amendment saves lives. Imagine getting up early in the morning to find someone breaking into your car for the 3rd time. Since these people are willing to steal property, I would not be surprised at what else they would do to ensure that they got it. In this instance, the thief was shot and killed. I do not have even the slightest bit of sympathy for him. I am sure that a bleeding heart liberal would try and tell me about the trouble that he has to deal with, and then say that insurance would protect the victim, being ignorant of how insurance works, and expect us to feel sorry for the thug. I am not a bleeding heart liberal, and so I use facts. And the fact is that this thief very well could have killed the victim had the victim not killed him first. This is what happens when you value other people's things more than you value your own life. Shooting intruders on your property. Katie Hobbs officially won the race for governor in Arizona. Under her jurisdiction, O'Keefe Media Group keeps finding more and more secret bases that transport illegals all over the country. Granted, this most recent one is in California, but that makes sense. Moving on, there is a bill going through the legislature that would allow illegals who trespass onto private property to be shot. It is the same thing with all of these thieves and looters who do not want to get shot. They say that we value our things more than we value their lives. In truth, they value our things more than they value their own lives. If someone is on your land, it would not take very long for them to break into your house and kill you or your family. This is why people need to be able to defend their homes from these invaders. After all, the Second Amendment saves lives. Firing DEI staff. The University of Florida has had to eliminate all DEI positions. I am not sure why anyone would have such racist initiatives in any school, but I digress. Governor DeSantis signed the bill and the positions are gone. Florida is one of a large number of states that have gotten rid of these jobs. They are paid by the university to discriminate based on imaginary privilege. I only have one thing to say to these DEI employees.
Hey, so long. See you, sucker. Bon voyage. Arrivederci, later, loser. Goodbye. Good riddance. Peace out. Let the doorknob hit you where the good Lord split you. Don't come back round here no more. Hasta la vista. Kick rocks and get the hell out.
Maybe without having such a pointless office, the cost of admission will go down a bit.
One can only hope.
Then again, higher degrees are not worth what they used to be. Electric vehicles are not green. This is just sad in my humble opinion. The fake news touted electric vehicles as the solution to global warming. Global warming, something that will kill us all, even if the models never come to fruition. When Elon Musk started making them, he got all of the praise from Hollywood.
There you go.
You gotta be kidding me.
Sorry?
You're Elon Musk.
I am?
However, ever since he started supporting free speech, this is no longer the case. Even The Guardian and the Wall Street Journal are admitting that these cars could be a problem. Granted, the latter dances around the issue by looking at particulates from the tires, but that is not the point. The point is that these cars are not the savior that they were made out to be. In addition to the large-scale mining needed to get the lithium, they still use the same grid to charge as the rest of us. However, studies like these never would have come up if Elon Musk had kept his mouth shut about Twitter. Since he did, the fake news has been trying to destroy him. Now companies are trying to switch to hydrogen power, which they tried to do when I was in middle school, but it never went anywhere. To know who controls you, learn who you are not allowed to criticize. Maybe I'm just blowing smoke. Maybe I'm completely off my rocker, but that is just my opinion. And do not forget to like, comment, and most importantly, subscribe for more. But before you go, on the left I have last week's video, but you may also enjoy the video on the right.